could have made a commercial and made a pretty good money out of it. But like I say, nowadays there's just not enough. There's just not enough people in the industry to manufacture stuff like this. And corn grinder, what?
I think it's like sand.
Well, this is actually ballast from the woodland scenes, plus a few other chunks that just roll down. It's always interesting when a spider web comes out. I gather you get some sort of auger in there or something? Exactly. Yeah. Well, it's more of a paddle wheel. The auger would have same idea. Thing rotating that just to push it. Pushing something out. And then you got your levers in there. The what? What?
Howdy, howdy, howdy. We'll get a picture up in a minute. Like I got one around here somewhere. Alright, there we go. So, let's see. We got a few people over here in the chat room. We got Dave's Hobbies and Things. How you doing? SD70ACE. And Dave BNSF. Hope y'all doing well. Got Mr. Lloyd up here and Mr. Andy on the panel. Anybody else want to come join in, you're welcome to. We got the link posted. The panel's open. And as Bill always says, we'll do a little bit of homework here. And next Wednesday we got Who's Big Bill talking to. That'll be on the 24th. And 27th will be Railroad Empires, how they build them. That'll be with Robert and his crew of Lloyd, Andy, Tim. Give Tim just a little bit of a hard time if he's not out camping. But he should be back. Oh, we got Stu Structures. How you doing, Stu? And Curtis. They just popped in on chat.
Yeah.
Let me blow Lloyd up here a little bit because he's working on a little project here.
Yeah, it just happens that it's a diorama contest, which I decided to enter. And this is what I'm building. It's called the Flaherty McCabe,
Okay.
the Cundy Village series.
Yeah, there's a bunch of cave structures that it has lined up. He has several of those kind of multiple kits together that are a part of something. There's a McCabe series.
They're really nice kits. Like, I guess like any of those laser cut kits.
These are really good ones, though. As far as laser cut kits go, they've got and they're kind of a really nice middle road compromise where you've got like American model builders that I love because they're dirt cheap, but they don't come with much, and they come with assemblable wood windows and stuff, which are okay, but honestly, teaching your Grant Line windows are probably better. Right tool for the right job. Plastic windows are just with the sash and all that stuff, just are better detailed. And he has a number of detail parts. That's really what the difference is in some of the, $300 Craftsman kits. It's a lot about what you're getting with them. from an instruction book that's that's basically a clinic in a box, and a lot of detail parts. They're a good middle of the road compromise. They're a fair price, kind of in the middle of the road, have some detail parts, but not a tremendous amount. They're good kids. I like barbells real well.
And they're not that expensive, yeah.
So, good middle of the road compromise. I mean, they're not the $40 of an American Model Builders that comes with nothing, and they're not $400.
Exactly.
But they have kind of a middle of the road compromise. I think they're a great, they're a great early start into laser cutting, but or laser cut kits. But they're also a kit that the most experienced person would be proud to have on their layout. As far as quality goes.
Mm-hmm. Well, Andy, I was going to show you. I tried something out. The what do you call it? The crackle medium. I hope it doesn't. Is it blurry?
Yeah, put it down closer to the table. They'll probably focus.
I had it. It worked yesterday. Hold on. Come on. It worked yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday. It kind of started to focus when you pull back.
Okay, well, here we
there
go.
it is. There it is. Yeah. That's looking pretty good.
So that was a test piece, but now I know how to do it. At first I tried, like you give it a first coat, then you give it this, it's called crackle medium.
Yeah.
And then you put your second coat of paint, but do not go over don't go over the paint that you just put in, because then it's gonna stop the crackle. So in other words, once you gave it a brush, that's it, don't touch it. So it took me 4 tests to find out, oh, that's how you do it.
Yeah. So if you want to do any weathering or anything like that, you have to let it completely dry. No.
Yeah. And if you don't like the cracks the way it came out, what you do is, before your paint is fully dry, use a toothpick and just scratch it.
Oh, okay.
I got the idea from Jason Jensen, but unfortunately he doesn't explain how he does it. He goes, so I just followed the instructions on the bottle. Okay.
Yeah. Now, here comes Mr. Jason now. Not Jensen, but
Jason.
I don't know if his audio's working or not. I hadn't seen his mouth move yet. Well, I hear a hum. Nope. All we're getting is a hum. Now your whereabouts muted. Nope. Gotta put another quarter in the slot. You need more quarters.
Okay, you can hear me now, right?
Not really.
Oh yeah.
For some reason, my connection to my wireless was messed up.
Yeah, I turned mine on night before last for the first time. Quite a while, wasn't sure if it's going to work or not because the transceiver's laying on the floor under the table instead of up on the wall.
Uh-huh.
But it still worked. I don't think I could have gone upstairs, but that's all right. Human City said, "Oh, Jason Jensen is such an artist with everything." Brian, how you doing? Now, this module you building, is it what, 12 by 12 square or?
Yeah, the diorama, no, it's 8 by 11.
8 by 11, okay.
I've got my base. My base is done. I'll go get it.
Yeah, looks really nice.
Because it took almost a month to get the kit from the US, so I decided to start on my.
Okay, yeah. So
So
this
there's gonna
isn't particularly a railroad themed type contest then?
No, they just said to put a building and do a diorama on it.
Okay.
So I know my camera is giving you. I don't think you can read the sign. Hold on,
No, it's backwards.
it's backwards. Eh? It says Roger Moon and Martin Shine. Auto mechanics. So, but in the back, there's going to be a what do you call it? A still.
That's still, yeah.
And they're going to be making moonshine. So I've got my speedboat ready to deliver. I got hound dogs sitting on the porch. A few guys with guns.
Yeah.
I think you've nailed one of the most important things that is so rarely done. It is done, sure, but a lot of people miss out on the benefit of the telling the little stories, the little vignettes, the little stories. I love when I see that. When you look at a scene and you see a few people and you're like, I know what those folks are up to. Either something funny like a run of steel or just a couple guys, some lady throwing a shoe at a guy outside of a restaurant. And those little things are really entertaining. The chance to meet it.
No, that's what I believe a diorama should be. It should be something that tells a story.
Me too.
I mean, sure, you can just look at it, that would be it. But when you go a little bit further with your diorama telling a story, it's the same thing with your layout. Everywhere you've got something, it should tell a story. If you got a bridge, somehow make it say something.
Yeah, I mean that's one thing that separates the real world from our models. Is in the real world. I mean, if you're flying over in a small plane at 10,000 feet, you're seeing all these little things happen that we know are things that happen in the real world. You're seeing a couple guys, standing in a car lot arguing about a car sale, or in a used car dealership or something. You're seeing life go on, and that's something we often miss in models, that we just position people in places where they would be. Well, the easiest way to make it look realistic is, add the human touch to it, kind of.
Yeah.
You see it done. I mean, there are people who do it. People like Jason Jensen that see the artistry side of it, but a lot of us that come from the engineering standpoint tend to, think more like, well, a human is supposed to be this size and they're supposed to be upright like this, and we think about the mechanics of it, but there's no personality.
I agree. So the fact that I was getting my building late compared to all the others, and I decided to work on my base. So I had that piece of styrofoam that's 8 by 11. I started cutting pieces of paper. Okay, this is the building. I'm going to put a ditch here. The entry is going to be here. I'm going to put a boat. So all this was drawn up on a piece of paper. And then you start building it.
Yeah, that's why you make it 8.5 by 11. You can print it out and start working on it.
Hmm.
Same size piece of printer paper now. I mean, which I think is always interesting to see, like Robert, who printed his entire layout out in like a stack, like a stack of papers and laid them all out. I think it's fascinating that people do that.
Yeah. Paper companies like it too.
Yeah, ink companies love that. Yes.
No, that's how I did my layout. So
Is that right?
Just imagine 40 feet by 20 feet, just how much paper. But I was okay. I just printed the track work. So all the rest, I think it was in AnyRail. So you could say just print, don't print any blank sheets.
Yeah. So how did you get the alignment? Since you're just printing track work, you don't have the pieces of paper. I guess you could just measure, and you could measure, if you 3 blank sheets there, you could just measure that 24 inches, I suppose.
Well, I mean, the paper has in each corner has a quarter of a circle, so you match every other sheet with that quarter circle.
Yeah, Robert said it only took half a ream and 1 ink cartridge.
That's not too bad, honestly. That is something I really want. I mean, I'm spending money buying some tools here lately. 3D printer, laser cutter, stuff like that. I do really want a Doppler printer. Big 3 foot wide Canon printer. I'm just looking for I don't want an IPF 650 or something from Canon. Does 36-inch wide roll paper so I can print my own backdrops. I can buy one new for close to $2,000. It's still cheaper than the photo backdrops I had quoted from somebody. And I'm sure I can find the photo backdrops cheaper than that, but I've repaired them numerous times. So I'm looking for a good deal on one that needs a belt or something like that. And it will be cheaper than having bought my photo backdrops to my printer and then think of all the other cool stuff you can do with it.
Freddie just popped in. And Big Bill.
What's up, gentlemen?
Fred E. was asking if he could ask a question about software to control trains. Yes, you can. So put your question in and I'll air it to everybody here on the panel. We'll see what we can do. I know the first thing to do is make sure it's plugged in.
That's a good start.
Yeah. Alrighty, Fred said he has been trying to learn script in JMRI, but that's not working for him very well. Anything else?
Is there another way to? I assume you're asking, is there another way to do it? Of course, it all depends on what you're trying to do. If you're looking at automation, for example, the JMRI Warrant system has done a lot with automation. Of course, it was originally started by doing scripts, much like what you're trying, but they have built dialogues or graphical user interface parts of JMRI to control or to build those scripts for a whole lot of railroad automation. I would still say that Railroading Company, or Railroading Co., people say, but Railroading Company's train controller, what a lot of the British folks, a lot of European a lot of European uses train controller from Railroading Company. If you're looking at truly automating your railroad, they are still much further ahead than JMRI.
Yeah, he was saying they wants to run 3 trains at the same time.
Yeah, so first, Railroading Company is just further along, the train controller. Not an expensive piece of software. I forget how much, but it was some $100, I'm pretty sure, unless it's changed. It's great for automating the movement of trains. I'm automating the movement of some of my trains as well, so that I can run a train myself, while several other trains move about the layout, and I don't have other people here. I'm either going to do that when I do have a couple people here, because my railroad will support more trains than my aisleways will support in, cubic capacity or cubic density. I'm going to just do mine with JMRI's Warrants system, and for my purposes, that does the job just fine. I will say Jython can be challenging. The scripting language of JMRI can be challenging because it's just the right mix of Python with some Java stuff, and there's challenges there. And I think if you're already a pretty comfortable or pretty accomplished programmer, you shouldn't have much trouble with it. If you are just getting started, I would say there's some other places that would be easier to start, develop a few skills before you dive into the complexity of 2 languages that are kind of mixed together. I'd start with just doing some Python stuff by itself first, but that's way beyond model railroading to become the programmer like that. I bet you Warrants will do the job for you. The key to that, though, is to getting all the operations stuff put together to where you can operate your railroad with JMRI. If you can't operate your railroad with JMRI, then JMRI cannot operate your railroad for you. So you need locations and origins and destinations and midpoints and sensors and triggers. All those tables need to be populated with a bunch of details.
Yeah, he's also asking if he needs sensors.
Yes, without a question. You can do some things with very few sensors so that you make it guess about how far the railroad is going to progress. I am doing some of that myself because I don't want to have my operators run trains into or out of staging. So I'm setting up a warrant for each train that starts in staging and ends in staging. So the railroad, JMRI, brings the train out of staging and out onto the layout, and then you take over as an operator. Once you get to a certain point, at the end of the railroad, you can hand it back to JMRI and it will continue the warrant or run it on into staging. or if something happens and halfway through your run, you've got to leave or whatever. It could just be, or whatever. There's options there. You can hand it back and forth to the warrant system, but sensors are required, absolutely required. Detection is, short of honestly, I think detection is about critical for a signaled railroad.
You gotta have sensors anyway, just so the software know where the train's at.
That's right. Gotta have sensors. Now you could do some of this with transponding or with Railcom from ESU, but you still have to have blocks that have transponding detectors in them. So you still have to have sensors. All transponding does is tell the sensor exactly what train it is. Just basic sensors are enough for JMRI automation. So sensors are required, and they'll be required for signaling as well, which you may or may not want to do. But once you've got detection, you can do that. I mean, I did write an article for the EMAG a number of years ago about some of the options on signaling. You can put signals in without sensors, but they're entirely cosmetic. They're a scenery element. If you actually want to use them meaningfully in your operation scheme, occupancy detection is mission critical.
Yeah, he was also saying, let's see, can he do individual scripts? Oh, he said he could do individual scripts, but can't do them at the same time. He said, I'm using just timing.
Yeah. Well, and maybe you could do that if they don't interface with each other, very, very close. If the timing is not very close at all, it might be possible to do that. But JMRI is going to have some real tricks of how to advance the thing. It also has no error correction built in. So I haven't messed much with doing it with timing per se. So I'm not sure exactly. And maybe there's ways around these problems I haven't thought of. But it feels like that's going to be difficult. And honestly, sensors are not that challenging. Of course, it all, like everything else, it all depends on the size of your layout. My layout is going to have quite a few sensors on it, but I found a way to do that pretty inexpensively. So,
all right, he just put in here, I want a master script to call other scripts. Scripts need to set flags to tell other scripts to start.
Yeah, I do that. I nest scripts too. Now, generally speaking, I do that for a few things. I haven't done that for odd automations like warrants. Generally speaking, I want a train set aside in warrants, and I call it via the JMRI's operations system. Which, by the way, I found a super cool set of stuff for the operation stuff that builds out using Microsoft Excel, and it communicates bidirectionally with JMRI using your inventory, using your rolling stock and trains lists, locations lists, and builds beautiful, much more templated car cards and waybills if you want that, or builds beautiful switch lists that you can put logos and stuff on. It's a much more elegant way to solve that particular problem. And I would think the same thing about what he's talking about is that JMRI is a great back end, and I use a bunch of different pieces on top of it, like CATs to build out panels, for example, and this manifest creator for building out switch lists and stuff in Excel. Again, it's all populated from JMRI. Warrants is somewhat like that too, and I am working on a little web-based piece of software that calls those automations for me, so that my operators, or especially my staging oriented people or dispatcher, don't have to directly interact with those. Where I could just call a train, and I'm doing that with scripts. I'm doing that with nested scripts. But otherwise, I want JMRI to do the intelligence, of what script gets called when, as opposed to trying to nest them and trying to outsmart Jamboree. But I'm also going to have sensors and all that stuff so to inform Jamboree about the state of the railroad.
All right, we got Human said he's got 2 questions. Fred E said he's using a Sprague 3. Human said his first question is that a complete server rack behind you, Andy? And then his second question is, how many trains can you automate at the same time with your manifest system?
Well, the manifest system just builds out the car cards the way it builds the operations part of it. The manifest creator, that piece of software in spreadsheet, I didn't write that. It's just a piece of software that's available on the web. You can search for manifest creator. And I just recently got turned on it. Even if you have not about automation, no signaling, detection, doesn't matter about all that stuff. If you're going to operate using JMRI to populate your list of rolling stock, your trades, and your destinations and all that stuff, Manifest Creator makes beautiful documents that are printable. Car cards and waybills that are printable or switch lists. So it's just about, it's a lot about the cosmetics, but it has a lot of logic and a lot of macros built into it, and it's freely provided. It's spectacular. I'm super impressed with it, but I just found it. Jamboree warrants. Some of the guys, one of the guys in California that has a B&O in Western Maryland layout, I think of his name, Parks, something Parks, has a spectacular layout. He's automating quite a few trains at a time, and he is automating his staging the way I am. So he automates the run on to the layout. He's the guy who him and a group of people around him are the guys who largely took a bunch of scripting that they had done in Jamboree and built a beautiful set of front ends for it that's now become the warrants system. They built that. David Parks is his name. That's become a fairly sophisticated system. It's still Railroad & Co. A Railroad & Company's product is still better at automating a layout, but I don't want to automate my layout entirely. I want to operate it. I just want automation to run secondary trains, or to help fill out an operating station, or to operate the CSX, which is I've largely operated the Norfolk Southern, but I have an entirely operational second railroad on the layout, even though there's not a lot of it, but it's operational. Warrants is great for that stuff, but you've got to go through the pain of getting it there, of setting it up and working with it. Granted, I have a bit of technology involved in some of this stuff, and involved in the railroads.
Yeah. Your camera working, Eric? There you are. And Freddie said, do you know of anyone I can hire to work with me? I'll hire Andy out to you for $30 an hour.
Yeah, I think there's a word for that. Actually, there may be some people. It's a great idea to hire people to do certain tasks. You've got to, there are things that it's better if you just learn them. Some things in the hobby, for example. But if you need a grade crossing or something like that written for Arduino, and you're not going to do that much more with Arduino, it's a great idea to just go pay somebody to do this very specific thing for you. And I know you could find somebody to write the code. The problem is finding someone who knows the code, but also knows what you're trying to get to, the end goal. That's probably a difficult thing to find somebody that understands the railroad enough to do that. I'll have to think about that for a minute. I do know there's some other people in our community who have paid some developers to do some Arduino work with spectacular results. I think they've done real well with that.
How you doing, Kevin? He just popped in. SSF Rattan, New Zealand.
New Zealand.
I guess I started something. I think, what was it? Human said he asked how much would you charge to build his railroad. Yeah, we're not going that far, Human.
No, I have a hard time getting much free time for much of anything, honestly. That's why my road's taking so long to build. And I tend to keep myself pretty busy with a lot of tasks. I would be happy to help if people want to jump into the nightly shows when I'm around, at least kind of point a person in the right direction. But it's gonna, unless you find somebody that you can pay to put some, a number of hours into it, because it would take a number of hours. It's going to take some work by anybody's part to set it all up. But I think if a person just goes, gets the sensors in place, gets the sensors in the JMRI table, gets all of their rolling stock locomotives and destinations and sightings in JMRI, I don't think it's that hard to do it just all within JMRI and not have to write code. I think the vast majority of the complex electronic stuff that we need to do on our railroads have already been done before. That's why I think Arduino is a very good tool for model railroaders. Not because it's necessarily easy or not easy to program for. It is fairly easy. But there's already model railroaders, Jeff Bunce and Dave Mondar, among many other people, who have already wrote code for grade crossings and signals and various other things with Arduino, and they provided that code for free on the web as links in their YouTube videos that explain it, or a lot of them on the MRA forum. So part of the reason I like Arduino is it's just been, there's a big community of people who are already sharing the work. You don't have to invent the wheels.
Yeah, Kevin's asking, where's the site for the Manifest Gear? Or what is the site for the Manifest Gear?
Yeah, I'll find that for you. Manifest Creator, I'll find it.
Andy, the Arduino is that computer, correct?
It's not exactly a computer. I mean, it would feel like one for a lot of people, but it's a microcontroller.
My buddy who lives up in Cleveland is starting. He's a fellow photographer and a railroader of mine. Not a railroader, but a road photographer. And I convinced him to start up a model railroad. And I was trying to remember what the thing was. In Arduino, that's what it's called.
And Arduino is a microcontroller.
Yeah.
It is the best reference for people who are fairly savvy about this stuff. Is it's the closest facsimile is a PLC, which is the types of devices that a type of electronics control that controls power plants and big machines, CNC equipment and big machines in factories. Factories are controlled by PLCs. Arduino is a very small consumer side device like that, which also makes it very good at driving, at doing things on our railroads, because railroads are often operated by PLCs, some parts of them, signal systems, for example.
Yeah, Eric needs to update his PLC so his camera stays on.
It is manifestcreator.weebly. That's WEEBLY.com, or Whiskey Echo Echo Bravo Lima Yankee.com. Manifestcreator.weebly.com.
Any chance you putting that in chat for him?
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I got
I got it anyway.
Oh, okay. Human said he put it in there. He just put Manifest Weebly.
Thank you. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah, I used to use Weebly for my old website.
I've never been a big fan of website creators. I like content management systems like WordPress or something, but I'm not a big fan of. I don't know enough about what Weebly is, though.
Yeah, I just use it for my photography. I did. No, I use something else though.
Well, but I feel the same way. To bring it back to model railroading about this stuff too, I feel the same way about vendor lock-ins with anything. I like standards. What happens if the company you buy your DCC system from decides to stop making your DCC system?
Yeah.
We've run into that a lot in model railroading. I mean, here we are just in the last week or two, NTH has announced that they're likely to be shutting down unless someone else takes over. What if you've got $10,000 worth of NTH's DCS control system? That's one of the joy that people don't, that people downplay about things like Arduino and all these other ways that I go about doing things that, granted, it's not for everybody, and sometimes it might be the hard way. Tell you what, there's no product other than some detail parts on my layout. A vendor could go out of business and it wouldn't hurt me at all in any way with anything except for a few detail parts. As soon as I get the rest of my laser cutter and other machines I've got, nobody can go out of business and affect me anymore.
I was going to show you guys what I was looking at to get my buddy started up in the model railroading, but it seems to not have saved my cart for some reason. So I can show you guys now.
All right, well, I'll tell you what, let me, I got a couple of pictures from Mr. Gino last week.
Yeah.
Because somebody else has sent some pictures in, and I was showing them here. Where'd they go to? There they are. Gino sent 2 pictures in. What he's done so far on his layout. All right, where'd you go? Come on.
His work's always so good.
Yeah.
And he models the Southern Railroad, so I respect.
Yeah, this is one where Loco's going past some of his building flats. I was kind of hoping Gino would be in here tonight so we could kind of talk about it a little bit.
Now,
Maybe Gino will send us some more pictures a little later on. We can put them up also. But he seems to be coming along with his layout pretty good. Like he's been doing some remodeling in the house too, so he's had to spend time on that.
I enjoy the videos he drops, little updates.
Yeah.
so my buddy has a pretty big basement. But that's besides the point. What would you guys recommend for a DCC system? I know in the past you guys have mentioned do with what your friends have, but he doesn't really have many model railroading buddies. I'm really his only railroad connection for model railroading.
What are you using?
My layout, I don't even have the bench work up. I have to tear it down.
What did you use?
ESU, which did not work at all for me.
No. Well, if this is the first time in, I mean, the 2 best choices would be either Digitrax or, what's the other one, Andy? NCE, yeah.
And if he's not very tech savvy, if he's tech savvy, it really won't matter either way. If he's not very tech savvy, NCE is an easier system to work with, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's what I have. And I'm not tech savvy, so.
It's an easier system to use, generally speaking. Digitrax has some, there's benefits to both of them. There's reasons why I would recommend Digitrax to somebody, and reasons for NCE. But if he's not that tech savvy, NCE will do it for you. If he wants all kinds of other features and is not tech savvy, signal systems and other things like that.
You did want to get a signal system in, but that was pretty much it.
But Digitrax is signal systems a massive undertaking. That's as complicated as it gets. The DCC decision is a super simple decision considering a signal system. I mean, DCC system is a $500 investment, like $1,000 investment with wireless throttles and all that other stuff, kind of top dollar. Signal systems are thousands of dollars and many hours to install.
He didn't want to put signal systems in the whole layout, but maybe have 2 or 3 signals in somewhere along the layout just for looks.
Oh, yeah, that don't count then. That's just scenery. If they're just scenery.
He wanted them to operate. Like, he didn't care if when a train passed, if they didn't drop to red or not. But he still wanted to be able to, change the color if he wanted to, but That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just scenery.
yeah,
That's
he
just
doesn't want like actual track detectors though.
right. That's the difference. And I wrote that up in the eMag a number of years ago. There's multiple ways to go with signals. If you just want scenic value, signals are easy. If you want to run trades from them, using signals the way the prototype does, where you can read them and decide to go or not go with the dispatcher and stuff, that's a massive commitment. Either a lot of hours or a lot of money and still a lot of hours and a pretty steep learning curve. It's got better. I think Atlas, is the one that has that signal system these days.
Yeah, Atlas came out with one.
It's a really good way to go. Probably the way to go. Probably. But it's still a pretty commitment, and you still need to be somewhat savvy.
I thought I took screenshots of what the cart was because now it decided to get rid of my whole cart. But I mean, he has a pretty big basement. I don't know if you guys ever see on the camera the size of mine. It's a ranch. He has a ranch house also. So here's looking at a fairly decent size, one layer, wants modern, with an excursion steam engine. Yeah.
If it's large, I guess it matters. I guess it's a matter of opinion how large something is necessarily. But if a layout is 400 square feet or something, you've either got to have help or a tremendous amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
And even my layout's 225 square feet plus the staging, and it's too large for one person to build.
Yeah.
And maybe because of the complexity that I put at, that is the problem. The amount of complexity I put in, number of levels, all that other stuff. It's already taken me 5 years, and it's going to take me another 5 years to have meaningful progress, because that's a bigger taking. Now, what most people consider large layouts, 1,500 square feet or something like that, you need an 8 or a 10-person crew of skilled craftsmen to build a layout.
What was Chino's YouTube channel? I can't remember it right off.
Yeah, I'll find it. Just a second. He's talking about subscription list, so.
We were looking at Pico turnouts also. Code 100.
Code 100? Yeah. All right. I like Pico turnouts. I don't like Code 100, but that's all a matter of preference.
Yeah.
Kevin
I've noticed
was
A3
asking.
is more expensive.
Code 83, you said Code 83 is more expensive? Is that what you're saying?
Mhm.
Well, I mean, slightly, but if you're talking about building a large layout, you're talking about tens of thousands of dollars investment anyway.
Yeah.
If you get $1 here or there on a turnout on a rail size difference, it's all a matter of opinion. I have no condemnation for people who run Code 100. Whatever floats your boat. I'm just talking about preference. I just don't prefer Code 100 because there's no prototype that's that large.
Yeah. We were when we had it in, I had everything in the cart, and like I said, it somehow just disappeared. I don't know how. But I think once we added it up here, somewhere around $3,500, $4,000.
How much?
That's including bench work and everything.
How much did you say, Eric?
Like $3,500.
Or how much? How big?
We haven't designed like a track plan or anything yet. But that's for bench work, a few cars, 2 engines, and then track, cork road bed, pretty much the basics other than scenery.
How are you picking out track without a track plan?
The way we were planning on doing it was just build as we go. And then if we need more, order more, and then
You could do that. But
Yeah.
building as you go, there are people who recommend that, who have different opinions about it. Building as you go is more expensive,
Yeah.
for sure. If you want to save money, a plan is required.
Yeah.
Building as you go is not only more expensive, it also takes longer because you're going to tear stuff out. You're going to waste product. A plan is a good idea. You don't have to have an absolute locked in stone plan. Mine was a more loose plan when I started, but I regret that mine was not a more fixed plan. I would have done mine in software and everything. If I was starting over, for sure,
Yeah.
I had a plan, but I would have had it very well defined before I ever started.
Well, I'll tell you what, just to remind everybody, now everybody's turning the cameras off on me.
Or I was grabbing water.
You can drink water on camera. You just
Well,
can't.
'cause you're on the other side of the room.
You can't drink that other stuff. Anyway, don't forget we got Who's Big Bill talking to next Wednesday, the 24th. And then on the 27th, we got Railroad Empires, how we are building them with Robert and his crew, which actually is Lloyd, Andy, Tim, and Robert. All our shows are at 9 o'clock Eastern Time, so don't forget. Andrew Fillmore just popped in. How you doing, Andrew? That Fred, he was asking, do you need a frog juicer with Pico? Actually, you need a frog juicer depending on the loco. If it won't go through the frog and shorts out, then you need a frog juicer.
Or a tortoise. It
Yeah.
also depends on how you're throwing your turnouts. But frog
But
juice is easy.
yeah, usually if the loco's long enough, it'll span the insulated frog so that the train will go through. If it's a short engine, you'll probably have to put power to the frog so it'll make it through. But if you're running modern day trains, those should be probably long enough to make it across without losing power.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends on the size of your turnouts too. Number 12, number 10s have fairly long frogs, but current keepers are your friend.
All right, Kevin, we'll catch you later. Have a good one. He had to go.
Joe Fugate has talked about that. He says it is cheaper to put current keepers or whatever you want to call them, capacitor. It's cheaper to put capacitors in every locomotive than it is to put frog juicers on every turnout. So he headed that direction, and it was a convincing enough argument that I bought into it.
So, how do you guys recommend these? We're looking at this possibly. We don't know yet though. We're just bouncing ideas off the wall.
But they're fine.
Yeah, I got 2 units of them. I
They
got,
pick up power from the track.
huh? Yeah,
They pick up power from the track, yeah.
yes, they do. I got a little bitty module in there to be as a relay to make the light flicker.
Mm.
I got 2 of them. I got one in 33-inch radius wheels, and I got 36-inch radius wheels too.
Yeah. So this acts as an actual coupler with the you
Yeah.
put it as a coupler.
Yeah. You can hook up a car right behind it. Still, it's not like the Bachmann ones that are right on the
Yeah.
front of the coupler.
On the prototype, though, right? On the prototype, don't they just shove them right down in the coupler, basically?
Yeah.
No
Now there's
notch for it on the side of the coupler.
yeah.
Once I've seen around here, they just dropped them in. It looked like they dropped them in the coupler. I see the guys just reach over, jerk them out, and throw them on the ground. Walk off.
For the load.
That's what I thought too, Johnny. That's what I've seen and what I remember.
Well, probably depends on the couplers too. I mean, if the car's got old couplers on them, they're not made to mount the end of train signal.
Yeah, this past weekend me and my buddies went out across the state. So Andy, you probably knew about this. The Norfolk and Western steam engine going back to St. Louis.
Yeah, they moved the
Yeah.
the
We
Y.
went and saw it. They put a box car on the tail end because the coupler didn't have the notch for the EOT.
Oh, okay.
So
EOTs were relatively, relatively new when I was rail fanning as a young fellow. Back then, they didn't have all those notches for them. I think they just threw them inside the coupler. And it probably has a lot to do with how lazy the train crew is too, what they do exactly. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I was able to catch it because it was going through Illinois last Sunday.
my favorite locomotive in the world are the Ys. Y6A is the only one remaining. My favorite locomotive back.
aren't there Y6Ds left?
None of them left. So there's only one Y6A left. That Y6A is the only one left.
I thought
Yeah.
the one that was in St. Louis was a B
Well, maybe what? Maybe I'm wrong about that.
because
How about-
the one up in Union's a A.
No, the one up in Union, is that at the IRM?
Yeah.
That's a B, I'm pretty sure.
I didn't think there was any B's left, but
From what Josh told me, he said this was the last Y6A, and then there are two other Y6Bs, one at IRM.
Yeah, it was
I-
Josh. No.
I didn't know there was any B's. I thought this was the only Y6A left. I thought there might be some other, I don't know, Y3s or something like that, especially a Pennsylvania livery, but I don't know. But I didn't know there was a B. Yeah, I didn't know if there was a B left. But
All right, well, we'll get that question answered, and then we'll call it quits for tonight. We done gone over.
I can't remember what Geno's is. I'm trying to dig for it, but we could, we can post a link to Geno's channel on our Facebook
Yeah.
page or something like
Geno's model trains.
that. I looked for Geno. I passed the G's. Okay.
Yeah, a couple of them already posted in chat. Geno's small trains.
Okay.
I cannot find the roster steam locomotives. Norfolk and Western 2050. It is a Y3A.
Yeah, there's Y3.
Y3A.
Yeah, there's Y3As, there's Y3, several of those. I thought the only Y6 was that one Y6A. I didn't think there was a Y6B anywhere that survived.
All right, so we answered the question.
But they've never rebuilt one of those or put it back on the rails. I mean, they're 25 mile an hour locomotives, 25 mile per hour locomotives, which is great at the time, but not
And
great for excursion service.
Andy, I'm looking on the Virginia Museum of Transportation. It is the only remaining locomotive of the Y5, Y6, Y6A, and Y6B series.
That's what I thought. I was pretty sure it was only Y6A.
Oh, that was the first with Josh. Wait, oh snap, we're on live. You can see this.
Andy Troy Simpson wants to know if after the show, if you might have time for him to pick your brain on a few things.
Sure, I'll jump in the nightly.
All right, Troy, he'll jump in the nightly chat. Andrew Fillmore said he put a train layout in HO in his house. That's good for you.
Yeah, it's gonna be a while till I get mine up.
Yeah.
I'm
I
focusing
think
more on
always build something, build a small switching layout or something. I'm in the process of building a small layout built entirely in foam core, or at least the framework. It's an interesting experiment that I want to build out. A lot of people have done it before, but to kind of diffuse any argument that people have for cost, tools, space, etc. If you could build a couple 2x4 modules or something that could lean up against the wall, slide to whatever, slide in the closet or something, and you could build them for $8 or something, then the whole argument for why you're still an armchair modeler doesn't hold up very well. When they're cheap, require no tools, and take up virtually no space. Anybody can build a small model railroad. And I'm going to build a small set of foam core modules to prove it to people.
All righty. What was that, Eric?
Well, once I get my photography up, because I'm starting to do more work for clients and families and stuff. Once I get that started and hopefully start making a little bit of money off that, I'll then focus on auto railroading. But
All right, that'll be good.
yeah.
All right, we're going to end this one. I'm going to answer Human Junction's question. All right, what you do is you go to whereby.com/model railroading live, all one word. That's our nightly chat room. Any and everybody's welcome to come in. But that is a video conference room. It does have a chat feature there, but alrighty, so we'll go ahead and call this one for tonight. Don't forget about Who's Big Bill Talking To next Wednesday night. And then the following Saturday, we've got Robert and his crew doing Railroad Empires. All shows are at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So,
Oh, John.
who said that?
Me. I meant to ask, has this show been cut down a little bit to every other week?
Yes.
I don't think I've seen it on as much.
Yes.
Alright.
It started the 1st of June.
Alright.
It's a summer thing. We're just going to do every other week.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what we're doing is, this week we didn't have a Saturday show, so I put my show on the weeks that we don't have a Saturday show for the Railroad Empires. And that's running through, I think, August. Yeah. He's doing 10 shows on that.
Yeah.
But
I was curious because I haven't seen so many notifications from it.
yeah, that's what it is. Everybody else takes vacation, so I'm taking a semi-vacation.
Yeah.
I've been doing them, every week through the summers the last 4 years. So
Yeah.
I said this year I got to have a little time.
Yeah.
Alrighty, y'all have a good week. Stay off the railroad tracks. We shall see you week after next. So have a good one.